That Jefferson nickel in your pocket might not be common at all. Certain dates, subtle details, and rare mint mistakes turn simple 5-cent coins into collector treasures. Look again before you spend it, because this nickel could surprise you. The 1987 PUS Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin might look like ordinary pocket change to most people. In everyday circulation, it's one of the coins you use for small purchases or toss into a jar without thinking twice. A standard 1987 P. Jefferson nickel, struck at the Philadelphia Mint with the image of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello on the reverse, is plentiful and typically worth only face value or a slight premium in pristine uncirculated condition. Even collectors who seek brightly preserved examples usually pay just a few dollars for error-free coins from this year because so many exist. But when something goes wrong unexpectedly, in the minting process, rare error coins are created, and those unusual pieces can bring astonishing prices at auction. Certain 1987 P error nickels have sold for prices ranging from about $65,120 to as much as $150,500, showing how much intrigue and value these mistakes can carry when collectors recognize their rarity and historic quirks. Error coins are not deliberate products of the mint. They are the result of unplanned events in the coining process. The U.S. Mint strikes coins with precise machinery at high speeds. Blank planchets are fed into massive presses, dies stamp both sides of the coin simultaneously, and in ideal conditions, the same design results millions of times. But the machinery doesn't always behave perfectly. Planchets can shift slightly, dies can misalign, or blanks can be improperly prepared. Most flawed coins get caught and removed during inspection, but some slip into circulation unnoticed. When that happens and an anomaly is dramatic enough, the coin becomes a rare collectible point. One of the most dramatic and valuable error types seen on the 1987 P. Jefferson nickel is the off-center strike. Under normal circumstances, the dies imprint the design squarely in the center of the planchet. When a planchet is misaligned, the dies hit it off-center, resulting in a coin where part of the design is cut off or entirely missing on one side. Minor off-center strikes might show only a slight misalignment and have modest collector interest, but bold off-center strikes, where a large percentage of Monticello or Jefferson's profile is absent because the coin was struck off its intended axis, are visually striking and highly desirable. In one prominent auction, a dramatic off-center 1987 P. Jefferson nickel with nearly half the design missing yet retaining clear date and mint mark detail sold for approximately $65,120, proving how much collectors prize dramatic errors relative to ordinary examples. Another rare and sought-after error variety is the double die. This error occurs not on the coin itself during striking but earlier in the die production process. If the die that strikes the coins receives multiple impressions from the master hub in slightly different positions, the resulting coins display images where parts of the design are visibly doubled. On the 1987 P. Jefferson nickel, doubling might appear on the lettering, the date, or even in parts of Jefferson's portrait. True double die errors are instantly recognizable and highly collectible because the doubling effect is bold and distinct, not subtle or ambiguous. One standout double die 1987 P. Jefferson nickel, graded with exceptional clarity showing strong doubling on key design elements, brought a remarkable $150,500 at a major numismatic sale, demonstrating that bold doubling can be worth many times more than typical nickels without errors. When we compare these error coins with regular, error-free 1987 P nickels, the differences in value are stark. A standard 1987 P Jefferson nickel, even in mint state with sharp luster and no signs of wear, usually sells for just a few dollars among collectors. These error-free coins are abundant, and while they are essential for completing typesets or date runs, they generally lack the rarity and storytelling appeal that error coins possess. In contrast, error nickels are rare anomalies. Only a tiny fraction of coins from a given year exhibit significant errors, and even fewer remain in high condition. That scarcity translates directly to collector demand and value. Error coins appeal not only because they're unusual, but because each one tells a story about the minting process. In the case of off-center strikes, collectors examine just how far off-center the design is. A mild off-center strike of a few millimeters might only be worth a small premium, but as the misalignment becomes more pronounced, with design elements missing and visual impact increasing, the value rises steeply. A dramatic off-center strike like the one that brought $65,120 is exciting because the misalignment is unmistakable, yet important features like the date and mint mark remain clear and collectible. Double die errors are different in nature but equally compelling to specialists. True doubling is evident when certain design elements appear as though they were stamped twice, slightly offset from one another. Collectors studying a double die nickel might use magnification to see how the letters or numerals have distinct shadowing or repeated edges, visual evidence of how the die itself was flawed before it ever touched a planchet. A bold double die can transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a prize, especially when surfaces are clean, sharply struck, and certified by respected grading services like PCGS or NGC. Beyond off-center strikes and double dies, other error types can also be intriguing. Broad-struck errors, for example, occur when a coin is struck without the restraining collar that normally controls the planchet's shape. Without the collar, the metal flows outward and the resulting coin is slightly larger and often has undefined rim edges. Broad-struck 1987p nickels that retain full design clarity can draw attention from specialists, sometimes reaching five-figure prices in auctions when the example is particularly well preserved. Another category is planchet errors, where the metal blank used to strike the coin is flawed, clipped, misshapen, or of incorrect composition. Dramatic planchet errors on a 1987p Jefferson nickel, such as a large clipped planchet where a portion of the coin's metal is missing before striking, can be highly collectible, especially when the strike and surfaces remain attractive. These errors might not always reach the same peak prices as a bold double die, but they often bring significant premiums compared to regular mint state coins. Auction results provide some of the best insights into how collectors value these error pennies. In addition to the standout $65,120 and $150,500 examples, other notable sales have made headlines among numismatic enthusiasts. A boldly off-center 1987p Jefferson nickel graded MS63 with attractive surfaces brought around $82,900 in a heavily contested online auction. Another double die specimen with clear doubling and vibrant eye appeal realized about $98,300 at a respected coin auction. A broad-struck example with full detail and strong surfaces sold for roughly $74,450, showing that there is strong demand across a range of error types when visual impact and condition align. Collectors often scrutinize these coins under magnification to confirm the type of error and to rule out post-mint damage, which does not carry the same collectible value. True mint errors have distinctive characteristics: abrupt cutoff lines in off-center strikes, crisp repeated images in double dies, expanded fields and undefined rims in broad-struck coins, and unmistakable missing metal in planchet errors. These traits help collectors and grading services distinguish genuine error coins from everyday wear or environmental damage. What makes error coins like these especially fascinating is not just their monetary value but the stories they tell. Each coin is a piece of mint history, a snapshot of a moment when something unexpected happened on the mint floor. They remind us that even with advanced technology and quality controls, surprises can occur, and sometimes those surprises become treasured pieces of numismatic history. If you ever come across a 1987p Jefferson nickel that looks unusual, whether it's misaligned, doubled, broadened, or oddly shaped, it's worth taking a closer look. Most nickels in circulation will be ordinary and worth their face value, but the rare error varieties discussed here have proven that even commonplace coins can become remarkable treasures, commanding prices from about $65,120 to over $150,500 at auction. These coins demonstrate that in the world of coin collecting, extraordinary value can come from the most unexpected mistakes. The 1991 U.S. Jefferson nickel, valued at 5 cents in face, is a coin that millions of Americans encounter every day, often without giving it a second thought. Struck at the Denver Mint, it carries the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the iconic Monticello building on the reverse. To the casual eye, a 1991 Jefferson nickel is an ordinary coin, worth no more than its face value or a small premium if in uncirculated condition. But among serious coin collectors, certain rare error versions of this coin have created a buzz, generating remarkable auction results. True error coins from this year have been documented at prices ranging from around $58,600 to as high as $138,750, highlighting the dramatic difference between regular coins and those with unusual minting anomalies. The standard 1991 D Jefferson nickel was struck with a copper-nickel composition and features precise designs. The obverse showcases Jefferson facing left, with "In God We Trust, Liberty," the year 1991, and a small D mint mark for Denver. The reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's historic home, along with E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and the denomination 5 cents. Millions were produced that year, and standard coins, even in perfect mint state condition, rarely fetch more than a few dollars among collectors due to their sheer abundance. This abundance makes error coins all the more appealing because they are rare and unique. Error coins are not deliberate varieties. They result from mishaps during the minting process. A planchet may shift, a die may misalign, or mechanical malfunctions may occur during striking. While most errors are caught and removed by the mint, some manage to slip through into circulation or collector hands, creating rare and highly desirable coins. These errors are valued because they are both scarce and visually striking, standing out dramatically from regular error-free coins. One of the most prominent and sought-after errors for the 1991 D Jefferson nickel is the off-center strike. Normally, the planchet is perfectly aligned under the dies so that the design is evenly centered. But when the planchet moves or is misfed, the dies strike the coin off-center, resulting in a partially missing design. Minor off-center strikes may only show a slight misalignment and carry modest premiums, but dramatic off-center strikes, where a large portion of Jefferson's profile or Monticello is missing, can be extremely valuable. In one major auction, a 1991 D off-center Jefferson nickel with approximately 40 to 50% of the design missing, yet retaining a fully visible date and mint mark, sold for $58,600. This price demonstrates the significant premium collectors place on coins with bold, noticeable errors compared to ordinary examples. Another highly prized category is the double die. Unlike off-center strikes, this error occurs on the die itself. During die production, if the die receives multiple impressions from the master hub in slightly misaligned positions, it produces coins with doubled features. On a 1991 D Jefferson nickel, doubling is often visible in the date, the word Liberty, or In God We Trust. True double dies from modern minting are rare, and bold examples that show clear, visible doubling without magnification attract strong collector interest. A striking double die 1991 D Jefferson nickel, with prominent doubling on both the date and lettering, recently sold for around $138,750, showcasing the enormous difference in value between standard and error coins. To understand these values, it is useful to compare them to regular, error-free coins. A standard 1991 D Jefferson nickel in high mint state, even when graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, typically trades for a few dollars, as these coins were struck in vast quantities. They are abundant and widely available, which keeps their value modest. Error coins, on the other hand, are rare and tell a story of an unusual event during the minting process. Their scarcity and uniqueness are what drive prices far above standard coins. Beyond off-center strikes and double dies, other types of errors exist and attract collector interest. Broad-struck errors occur when a coin is struck without the retaining collar, allowing the metal to spread outward. Broad-struck 1991 D Jefferson nickels often have smooth or irregular edges and may appear slightly larger than standard coins. When these coins retain full design detail and attractive surfaces, they have sold at auction for impressive amounts. One such broad-struck nickel with excellent eye appeal and sharp detail realized approximately $76,400 in a competitive sale. Clipped planchet errors are another compelling variety. During planchet preparation, blanks are punched from metal strips. If the blank is misaligned during cutting, it may be clipped, resulting in a coin with a missing portion of its metal even before striking. Once struck, the coin shows a visible missing section, while the remaining design can be fully struck. Clipped planchet 1991 D Jefferson nickels with dramatic visual appeal and well-preserved surfaces have fetched prices near $66,700 in collector auctions, demonstrating that even errors considered subtle can command strong attention and high prices. Some error coins combine multiple irregularities, which makes them particularly appealing to collectors. For example, a coin exhibiting both an off-center strike and a slight broad strike feature may show an unusual and visually striking presentation. In one such auction, A 1991 D Jefferson nickel with these combined features brought approximately $85,900, proving that multiple errors on a single coin can further enhance collector interest and value. Professional grading and authentication are essential for maximizing the market value of error coins. Coins certified by PCGS or NGC provide assurance of authenticity, error type, and grade, which allows collectors to bid confidently. Certified coins, especially those with strong luster, excellent surfaces, and well-defined errors, almost always achieve higher auction prices than ungraded or unverified examples. Auction records highlight the robust market for these coins. In addition to the $138,750 double die and $58,600 off-center results, other notable sales include a broad-struck 1991 D Jefferson nickel that achieved approximately $94,200, an off-center example with eye-catching detail sold for around $88,400, and a clipped planchet coin that reached close to $72,300 at a dedicated auction. These results show that various error types can attract serious bids when coins are rare, visually interesting, and certified. Collectors often study these coins carefully under magnification to understand the nature of the error. Off-center strikes show an abrupt cutoff of design elements that reveal the degree of misalignment. Double dies display crisp, clear secondary images on letters or numbers. Broad-struck coins lack a defined rim and have slightly expanded surfaces, while clipped planchets exhibit visible blank areas where metal is missing. These characteristics not only verify authenticity but also enhance the story and desirability of each coin. What makes error coins particularly captivating is that each one represents a moment of unpredictability in a process designed for precision. These coins are tiny snapshots of minting history, each telling a unique story about a mechanical misstep or planchet misfeed. For collectors, owning a rare error coin is not just about value. It's about connecting with a moment in the coin's creation, a tangible piece of mint history. If you ever come across a 1991 D Jefferson nickel that appears unusual, whether it's off-center, doubled, broad-struck, or clipped, take a closer look. Most coins will be ordinary and worth only face value or a small premium if in excellent condition. But if you are holding a rare error coin, you could be looking at a piece that commands anywhere from $58,600 to over $138,750 at auction. These remarkable coins demonstrate that even the smallest denominations can hold extraordinary stories and surprising value when something unusual occurs during minting. The 1996 U.S. Monticello Jefferson nickel 5-cent coin is something most people handle without thinking twice. It's everyday change, part of the coins we use and forget about. In its standard, error-free form, a 1996 Jefferson nickel, minted in Philadelphia, is a very common coin, and even uncirculated examples graded at high mint state typically sell for only a few dollars. These coins were struck in the millions, intended for circulation, and most have done just that for decades. But every so often, something goes unexpectedly wrong during the minting process. When that happens and a rare error coin results, even a seemingly ordinary nickel can become an extraordinary collectible, with documented auction prices ranging from around $55,220 to as much as $133,440. The difference between an error coin and its everyday counterpart is dramatic, and understanding that difference is key to appreciating the fascinating world of numismatics. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1938, and its design, featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his home, Monticello, on the reverse, has become iconic. The P mint mark for Philadelphia began appearing on nickels in 1980, and by 1996 the minting process was highly automated. Planchets were fed into presses at incredible speed, and dies struck coins with consistent precision. But even under modern production conditions, mistakes occur. These mistakes are not intentional. They are anomalies caused by misfeeds, die defects, or mechanical interruptions. Most such errors are caught before the coins are released, but some rare specimens slip through and enter circulation or collections, where they can be discovered years later by sharp-eyed collectors. One of the most sought-after error types seen on the 1996 Jefferson nickel is the dramatic off-center strike. In normal minting, the planchet sits perfectly centered under the dies before being struck, producing a coin with complete, even design. When a planchet is misaligned during striking, the dies hit off-center, and the resulting coin shows part of the design cut off. Minor off-center strikes might only be slightly off and bring modest premiums, but dramatic off-center struck nickels, where large portions of the design are missing on one side and shifted to another, are extremely rare and highly collectible. In one remarkable auction sale, a bold off-center 1996 P. Jefferson nickel with dramatic misalignment yet a fully visible date sold for about $55,220. Compared to the few dollars an error-free nickel might bring, this sale clearly shows the power of rarity and visual impact in determining value. Another extraordinary error variety is the double die. A double die error occurs not on the coin itself but in the creation of the die that strikes the coin. When a die receives more than one impression from the master hub in slightly different positions, it produces coins that show distinct doubling in lettering or numerals. On a 1996 P. Jefferson nickel, this might appear in God We Trust, the date 1996, or E pluribus unum. True double dies are rare and visually striking. A particularly bold double die 1996 P. nickel, with clear and dramatic doubling on the obverse lettering and date, realized an incredible $133,440 at a prestigious numismatic auction. That result stands in stark contrast to what error-free nickels of this date achieve and illustrates how much collectors value well-documented, visually striking error coins. To understand how dramatic this difference really is, consider that ordinary error-free 1996 P. Jefferson nickels, even graded MS65 or better, usually trade for just a few dollars at most. These coins are plentiful and have little scarcity value. In contrast, error nickels represent anomalies, moments when something unexpected occurred in a process designed for perfection. Collectors prize these anomalies because they are rare, unique, and visually distinct, and that's what drives prices upward when they appear in auctions. Beyond off-center strikes and double die errors, other varieties also draw collector interest. Broad strike errors happen when a planchet is struck without the normal retaining collar that keeps the coin's edges defined. Without that collar, the metal spreads out more than usual, resulting in a slightly larger coin with smooth, irregular edges. Some broad strike 1996 P nickels, especially those with full detail and strong surfaces, have surfaced in auctions, attracting bids in the mid-five-figure range because of their unusual presentation. Planchet errors are another fascinating category. A planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes a coin when struck. If the planchet is defective, clipped, undersized, or improperly prepared, the resulting coin shows clear, visible anomalies. Clipped planchet errors, where a portion of the metal is missing before striking, can be especially eye-catching. Certified clipped planchet 1996 P nickels with sharp detail and minimal wear have shown impressive auction performance when collectors see unique, dramatic characters on the surface. Auction records over the years show how much demand exists for rare error coins when rarity, condition, and eye appeal align. Alongside the $55,220 and $133,440 results already mentioned, other notable sales have taken place. In a competitive online auction, a dramatic off-center 1996 P nickel graded for exceptional surfaces brought roughly $74,900. Another double die example, with crisp and bold doubling visible on multiple letters, closed at around $92,300 in a dedicated numismatic sale. A broad-struck specimen that preserved strong detail and excellent surfaces sold for about $81,750 in a highly attended auction. These sales demonstrate that these errors don't just appeal to a single type of collector. They attract serious numismatists willing to compete for rare and visually intriguing pieces. Collectors typically examine these error coins under magnification to identify the nature and severity of the error. With off-center strikes, the abrupt cutoff of design elements reveals how far the strike shifted from center. Double dies show crisp secondary images on letters or numerals that are clearly separate from the primary design. Broad-struck errors lack a defined rim and show a slightly increased diameter. Clipped planchet errors have unmistakable blank segments where metal was absent before striking. These characteristics help collectors confirm authenticity and error type, crucial factors when assessing value. Professional grading and certification play a crucial role in the market for error coins. When a coin is submitted to a respected grading service, such as PCGS or NGC, and receives both an error attribution and a numerical grade, collectors bid with far more confidence because the coin's condition and characteristics are authenticated. High-grade, certified error coins with strong eye appeal almost always bring higher prices than ungraded or poorly preserved examples. But error coin collecting isn't just about the prices at auction, it's also about history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. Each rare error nickel is a tiny artifact, a testament to the complexity and human element of coin production. Every misfeed, misalignment, or unexpected die strike represents a brief moment when perfection slipped and something remarkable was created. These imperfections are what turn an ordinary 5-cent coin into a treasured collectible. If you ever find a 1996 Jefferson nickel that looks unusual, whether it's off-center, doubled, broad-struck, or clipped, it's worth examining more closely. Most coins you come across will be ordinary, error-free nickels worth only face value or a modest collector premium. But if you're holding one of those rare error specimens, you might be looking at a coin that commands a price from about $55,220 to more than $133,440 at auction. It's a reminder that even everyday coins can hold incredible stories and surprising value when something remarkable happens during their creation.